Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Mr. Deathbreath, writing spoiler for film reviews, sometimes celebrity interviews. So usually I do the best and worst of whatever year we're on, and that would have been 2019. But something fantastic and insane is happening. The decade's coming to pass. So I decided to pick the best film out of each year from 2010 to 2019. And this was a difficult task, to say the least, because there was lots of great films. And just because I pick one film, it doesn't mean the other films were necessarily bad. It just means that this film was the film that best represented the year for me. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So, 2010. 2010 was an interesting year, because it was the start of where we were going. It was the start of the new decade. And the movie that really stuck with me, and I've seen probably countless times, is Daybreakers. Daybreakers, Ethan Hawke, amazing actor, Sam Neill, Jurassic Park, Event Horizon, and everything else. And of course, last but not least, the great, talented Willem Dafoe. For once, vampires are vulnerable. Vampires are not these super powerful beings, but they're weak beings. And the premise of this film is essentially that people are being harvested for blood, essentially in blood farms, the way cows are being harvested for meat. Except they're all tied up and being sucked dry, and they're running out of blood. So they're trying to find an alternative solution to blood. It's fantastic. Ethan Hawke plays a chemist. Sam Neill plays the corporation, the owner of the corporation that runs this giant blood company. And you have Willem Dafoe. And I'll let you figure that one out because I don't want to spoil anything. Guys, I highly recommend watching it. This film will make you see vampires differently. They're not always this all-powerful being, but they're vulnerable and interesting. And it's really a fantastic film. It's one of my favorite films. I highly recommend watching it. 2011. Tons of great films in 2011. But one of the films that I thought was absolutely incredible was, wait for it, The Grey. Liam Neeson. So essentially what it is Liam Neeson is a pipeline worker in Alaska. Essentially what happens is they end up crash landing and they're being hunted by wolves. It has Frank Grillo. Frank Grillo, you may know him from as Crossbones, also in the Purge series. Fantastic actor. Fantastic movie. It isn't Liam Neeson versus wolves. It isn't like Taken where Liam Neeson's popping guns and jumping through snow going It's nothing like that. What it actually is it's a really intense survival story. Fantastic acting. The score is amazing. They're constantly quoting some poetry throughout it. And it's really one of those films that when you watch it, you will feel alone and isolated. And it's an incredible film. 2012. Do you remember 2012? Because I remember 2012. And if you're on my spectrum of things, the geeky side of things, what I remember is that's the day that The Dark Knight Rises dropped. What was that? The Dark Knight Rises dropped. But of course! Okay, amazing film. I love The Dark Knight Rises. I know it has its critics, it has its hatred, it has its lack of love. I totally get it, but I don't agree. I mean, think about it. We got Tom Hardy, but of course! Amazing, okay? He created a character, an amazing character, okay? We have Batman that's out of commission for what, I think like 10 years since Rachel Dawes died? Spoiler, but you already know because everyone's seen The Dark Knight. And it's amazing, really, it's incredible. And what I love about The Dark Knight Rises is it essentially makes Ra's al Ghul's plan to enslave Gotham and nearly destroy it come to fruition. I mean, as you remember in The Dark Knight Rises, they're essentially chasing a bomb. It's fantastic. Guys, Nolan put an end to his trilogy, and it's arguably one of the best ones in the series. Absolutely amazing. But of course it's amazing! I love it. Tom Hardy, you are the man, and you made that performance perfect. Without Tom Hardy's performance, the movie wouldn't have been what it is. And without Dark Knight Rises, we wouldn't have had Tom Hardy as the amazing man he is. Amazing! Love it. 2013. So 2013 was a mixed bag. There were some good movies, there were some bad movies. But one movie that really captivated me was The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. Not the original from the 1940s or 1950s or 1930s, I don't remember. But the one from 2013 with Ben Stiller. So essentially what it is a man, he's kind of a wimpy guy, he doesn't really have self-confidence, and he daydreams about wanting to be the man, and essentially he goes on a journey trying to find some crucial information, and it's just a fantastic story, where it has you going everywhere from, Alaska to Switzerland to Iraq. It's an incredible movie, it's visually stunning, they use great colors, they have great actors, they have Michael Scott, he's been in everything from Step Brothers to Party Down, he's the guy with the big square head and always seems very arrogant. Fantastic, fantastic movie, guys. Ben Stiller does a great job at playing this man that's on a mission to find himself and find his own confidence. It really doesn't get any better. It's a very good film, it's a relaxing film, it's a family film, it's a film that you can watch and just enjoy. And even if you decide to pay attention intently, or you decide to slightly pay attention, you'll find yourself enjoying the film regardless. Truly a masterpiece, one of my favorites. I own it, I've seen it I don't know how many times, and I'm probably gonna watch it today. 2014. Let's talk about 2014. Actually, let's not. 2014, one of my favorite films. one of my favorite films is It Follows, okay? Yes, I know, people are like, isn't that the one with the ghost STD where it's like you sleep with someone, you get a ghost infection? Yeah, it is, but it isn't about that, okay? The thing with this film is it has a way of making you uncomfortable. It has a way of putting real-world application to it, essentially. If this was a real thing in the film, I don't want to get into too many details on this one because I want you guys to see it, but if it was a real thing, you could see how eerie it would be. Essentially, someone could see something that you can't, and that's what terrifies me. It's one of those films where you watch it and you think about it. It leaves you asking questions. It has you wondering, but what about this? But what about that? But what about that? And not questions that ruin the film, but questions that add to the weight of how great the film is. The type of questions that you start questioning, what was that going on? Why was that? And in addition to that, it's just eerie. I mean, one thing that's wonderful about this film is you never know the placement of where it's set. You know, the director deliberately made it a point to go and put a flat screen TV with a record player, yet the way the houses are designed look like they're from the 70s. And the cars look like they're from the 2000s. And you could be like, oh, it's bad continuity. No, it was completely deliberate. And yet somehow you never know where you are, which is fantastic. You never know if you're in this time zone or that time zone, because it's almost like it meshes perfectly together, where it's completely overlaid that you can't tell where you are when it comes to time. And it's a fantastic film, a fantastic horror film. I highly recommend it, along with everything else on this list. 2015. 2015, I'm going to be completely honest, was a year that didn't have any absolute winners. There was nothing on this list that made me think, wow, if I can go back in 2015, I'd love to go relive these moments. But there was one star that shined slightly brighter than the rest, and that was Jurassic World. Jurassic World is actually a fantastic film. Not one of my favorites, but certainly the winner of the best film in 2015. Essentially, if you haven't seen the trailer, I will go and summarize it with you. Basically, what they end up doing is they end up turning Jurassic Park no longer into a zoo, but they basically turn it into SeaWorld. And everything's bigger, badder, scarier. I mean, they have like a giant, alligator dinosaur version of Shamu jumping out and eating things that are being dangled off helicopters. And you have Chris Pratt. I mean, who doesn't love Chris Pratt? Star-Lord, Andy from The Office. I mean, he's just an incredible actor and he's wonderful. And this was one of his breakout films. So it's hard not to enjoy this film and love it. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was fantastic and it was great. Ladies and gentlemen, 2016. Notice my hand motions? Yeah, 2016. Why was 2016 amazing? One word. One name. Ryan Reynolds. Deadpool. I don't know who leaked the trailer. I don't know who leaked the tech demo or whatever it was. I don't know who leaked it, but it doesn't matter. Ryan Reynolds has always been one of those actors that I thought was fantastic. He always had a way of carrying himself in a way that was funny. He was humorous. He's a good-looking guy. He seems genuinely friendly, genuinely down to earth. And I loved him as Hal Jordan. I thought he did a fantastic job. Hal Jordan Green Lantern. The movie was terrible, but he did a job. But Deadpool. It made a household name. We have Deadpool. I mean, granted, the second film wasn't as good as the first film, but Deadpool was amazing. Ryan Reynolds, it was the role he was born to play, and he nailed it. And I'm so happy for his success. I'm so happy for that film. That was such a great ride. I own the film. I love the film. If you haven't seen the film, maybe you're underage, or maybe you're living under a rock. I highly recommend you go see the film. It's fantastic. Go rent it. Go Redbox it. Go buy it. You'll love it. Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds. Do we need to say more? Ladies and gentlemen, we're coming to the end of the list. And I'm happy to announce that 2017 was amazing. You know why? Because we got It Chapter 1. Don't know why I did two fingers. We got It Chapter 1. Fantastic. It was so good. Hey there, baby. It was so good that, as a matter of fact, it was so good that it was better than It, the original. Really, it was fantastic. They told a well-crafted story with a great cast, great pacing. They separated the film into two films instead of doing the format they did with the 1990s miniseries. Bill Skarsgård, absolutely amazing. A perfected performance. I mean, I don't know if that was a person or if that was an actor. I still don't know. Even though I see the facts, I still doubt that that was not the creature known as Bob Gray. If you haven't seen it, you need to see it. The right blend of humor, horror, an unsettling performance. I mean, it doesn't get any better. Do you remember 2018? Because I do. This was my 2018. Everyone's getting dusted. That's right, Infinity War. Infinity War. I mean, was there a better film that year? I can't tell you if there was. Because all I was thinking about was Infinity War the entire time. I felt shook. I remember after seeing everyone get dusted by Thanos, I remember going into theaters, watching that last bit because my eyes couldn't believe what I was seeing. It made me so uncomfortable. How are they dead? How are they dusted? And then that whole heartbreaking, I don't feel so good, I don't want to go with Spider-Man, I cried. I mean, my gosh, like, we have an amazing villain that's in pop culture ether forever. Thanos, the perfect madman. His idea makes sense in a crazy way. You kind of empathize with him to a point, but you know he's nuts. Honestly, Infinity War was amazing. It doesn't get any better than Infinity War. Ladies and gentlemen, we are on our final film of the list. The final film. It's the final copyright film Okay, you ready? Okay, my final film of the decade. The best film of 2019. The best film capping off this decade of 2019 is Midsommar. Okay, so Midsommar. Yes, if you look at it at the surface, it's a bunch of, going off what's in the trailer, it's a bunch of kids going and essentially getting slaughtered by a cult. Okay, fair enough. The writing's on the wall. You don't need to be a genius or have a degree to figure out that that's how things are going to turn out. Okay, completely understandable. But what makes this film amazing is after you've seen it. When you start analyzing the choices people make, when you start analyzing the things that are happening, when you start analyzing that in this cult, you know that one person is not crazy. One person isn't dogmatic in their faith. One person knows what's going on and is intentionally harming other people and deceiving their own people to do their bidding. And that's where it gets amazing. It's just the fact that when you start analyzing that these people are crazy, these people are nuts, these people are lost, they're blind, they need help, they need to have their eyes opened. And when you start viewing the film from that perspective, the film turns into something completely different. Even when you start analyzing the characters, like for instance, false example, that guy that was, about to, jump into a vat of acid and someone said, here, eat this papaya plant, you won't feel pain. But he jumps in and he screams to death. Not a real example, but that's what we're kind of getting at. You see, someone deceived that guy into eating the papaya plant, making him think that it would make him not feel pain, when in reality, it made him feel all the pain because it did nothing. You see, when you start thinking about those elements, or what was that person thinking in that crowd when that one person, got sawed in half? Again, not a real example, but that's why I love this film. And the thing what I love about it is, upon rewatching it about the third time I've seen it, and oh yes, it's a Midsommar shirt. Apparently I was at the festival and I survived. Weird. Yeah. Who would have thought? I guess I was one of the lucky ones. You see, but upon reviewing it, you start finding other things that are hidden. Ari Aster is truly an incredible filmmaker because he goes and hides little subtleties, he hides little clues throughout the film that either give you ideas of what may be happening or what is going to happen. And it's really fantastic. It's the best film of this year. There's no way to beat it. It's just incredible. Guys, thank you as always for watching. I appreciate your support. These last 10 years have been interesting. These last 3 years have been interesting. This whole year itself has been interesting. I want to thank you guys for your endless support. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your posts. Thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing. Thank you to all the new friends I met this year. I can't wait to see what this new decade brings. Guys, Happy New Year, and as always, I will see you soon. I'm shooting love.